Hey everyone, my name is Jason Filer, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all to the 6th episode of The Afterglow, the series where I'll be interviewing big names in the barbershop harmony world and trying to uncover the stories behind their music. For this episode, I'm very excited to have on the 2024 Barbershop Harmony Society International Next Gen Varsity Quartet Contest second place Silver Medalists Suite Life.
While the cups, those lousy cups, are out of sight.
This interview will delve into their journey, uncover the inspiration behind their sound and goals, and learn more about the moments that have shaped their growth. So, there's no reason to wait any longer. Let's hear from the illustrious Lex, Cody, Trip, and Zach. It's Suite Life. Suite Life, how are you? Thank you for being here.
Hello. Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having us.
Yes, so we have here the second place in the International Varsity Quartet competition for this past year in 2024. Such a pleasure to have you guys. Let's just jump right into it. So I want to first ask, how did you each get into barbershop individually? Just what brought you into the hobby? Let's go. It can be as much as little as you like. Let's just go from Trip, and then we'll go down the way.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Trip Carter. I did a lot of different choral music stuff in high school and middle school. Some like informal quartets for like a competition in high school, and I enjoyed it. I didn't think I'd go to college for music, but I ended up doing that, which was awesome. And then kept doing music stuff there. And then like little informal quartets off and on, nothing serious. And then I was actually at Disney, I can tell this story later, with some friends, and we were having a conversation about barbershop, and the next gen contest came up, and from that Suite Life was kind of started, but nothing really until Suite Life is the short answer.
Yeah. Awesome. How about you?
So it kind of started early on and then had like a little brief pause later in my life. So my dad, I believe he was part of the Orange Blossom chorus. Right around the time Roger Ross was also a part of it. So he was performing with them. And so my dad was a part of barbershop for a good portion of his life. And so when I was a kid, he tried to coax me into doing a little bit of barbershop here and there, taking me to some rehearsals. And, I was a little belligerent, but I also, deep down, I did kind of enjoy the music and all that. And so after he kind of figured out I wasn't really into it at first, he gave up. So I still pursued music in other areas for a little bit. But then as soon as I got into college, I had more and more friends kind of show me barbershop tags and say, hey, do you want to tag? You want to do this? Just for fun. And eventually, that's when, of course, Trip called me up and got me into Suite Life, and now I'm kind of hooked. So now that's pretty much where I am at it.
Awesome. Thank you. Lex, how about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Lex Goity. My barbershop journey started back in high school. I was involved in a men's a cappella group for all 4 years while I was in high school, and we did lots of various music, barbershop being some of that. We usually did about 1 to 2 barbershop tunes a year. So that's how I got kind of first introduced into it. And then coming into college, some of us, Cody, myself, and Trip, are all involved with Phi Mu Alpha music, or Sinfonia fraternity, the music fraternity there. And a lot of the music that's in the songbook is very much barbershoppy. So I kind of have always been around barbershop very casually. And then it wasn't until Suite Life came to be a little over a year ago that I formally have been part of the barbershop community. So
Awesome. Cool. And last but not least, Cody, how about you?
Hi guys, I'm Cody Mathewson, and barbershop has always been something in high school, being into vocal a cappella and vocal a cappella groups. Something that I listened to, but I could never find anybody else to sing it with. I didn't know anything about choruses, so it was like, yeah, this is something I listen to every once in a while. And then it got swept under the rug until Tripp gave me the call for the quartet formation. And from that moment on, we were going deep into the barbershop, and that's where it's been since.
It's actually kind of funny. Suite Life was 100% like last minute, like, I don't think we knew that it would still be a thing, like almost 2 years after. So this was in
End of January.
end of January 2023.
Yeah.
And I was with some friends at Disney, of all places. One of them was Daniel Cochran, the lead of the 2019 Chant Quartet Signature. And he got an email from one of his old friends that he competed in the college contest with back, when he was eligible. And I just remember him watching this video and being like, I haven't seen this in years, and being so like proud of his old performance. And I was like, I want to do that, like I had always seen barbershop videos and always wanted to do it, but I was like, I'm at the age now and I know people that are at the age where we could like actually put something together to genuinely compete. So let's do it. So Daniel was gracious enough to be like, hey, if you know some guys and you want to put something together, let me know and I'll come out and coach you. So I was like, awesome, great. So I went home and I looked it up. The deadline was in like
A week.
7, 8
Well, yeah.
days, something
Yeah.
like that. So I called these guys and I was like, this is crazy, but what if we just learn 2 songs, pick 2 songs, learn them, film them, see what happens. And we did that. Daniel came and helped us like once or twice. We filmed it. Didn't think anything of it. We didn't even like rehearse again until we kind of found out if we qualified or not. But then we qualified 11 something. And then we went to contest last year and had a blast and kept doing it after that. And
So yeah, basically what happened from our perspective was Tripp said, hey, there's this thing that we might want to do. It's due in a week. We have to film a video. Maybe we'll rehearse once within the week. And then that one rehearsal happened. And then it was, oh no, we rehearsed every
we
night
rehearsed every day.
for that 8 days.
Yeah.
For like 2 hours. We had a big show where everybody was in the concert hall.
Big show. There were like 10 people there.
You have to have like a live audience for the submission. So
Yeah.
we got a bunch of friends and people to come. But at that first rehearsal, we were like, okay, if this is something we're actually maybe going to do, we should try and like be good to qualify, because we had no idea
Yeah.
what any of this was or how good we would need to be to qualify. So we were like, okay, we have the time. Let's just get together and get as good as we can before we film. So
And then we did.
but
And
then
we,
we did.
and I think I can speak for us, where we didn't really know what it was whenever we filmed, but now we know.
Right.
And man, if you had told me what it was then.
A little bit more.
We wouldn't have done it.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
No, but it was fun, and we've just kind of stuck with it, and it's been something that has added a lot to all of our lives, I think, and
Yeah.
it's been a cool little fun world to be a part of. So
Yeah. So-
Yeah. Awesome. So cool. My next question is, it seems like, from the research I've done, it looks like you're one of the few groups who like have scored really like pretty high in the collegiate competition without having been in like a few other groups before, like, because a lot of groups that score very well have competed multiple times at different like configurations for 1 or 2 years or so, and then move on to one that ends up going really well. You guys are sort of unique in the sense of like you came together and last year was your first time, and then this year you went here, got second place, having never been in any competing quartet before. Do you feel like there's like a sort of disadvantage you're overcoming, or you think it's in some way easier that you haven't had another group to sing with and it's pretty much just been this group? Anyone who has any sort of thoughts about that? What's that like, being a first time group and scoring this high?
Well, I kind of side tangent, but not. I think part of that plays in, we kind of joke about it, but I also think it's actually very helpful that we've all had the same voice teacher going through college. So we all have similar ideas of the same technique and all that. So as a first quartet, it's very beneficial to have people that we know, like have a foundation of how to sing well, essentially.
And not only did we have the same voice teacher, but we were all brought up in the same vocal a cappella group that is run by popular producer, arranger, Jamie Ray of Octave. So we were all taught how to do vocal a cappella kind of the same, which also was very helpful.
Same voice teacher, same a cappella group, same college choir, same obviously college. And it was just kind of like I think our biggest thing when we were first kind of working on improving as a group was just learning barbershop and just learning the style and learning different techniques that one would learn as you are getting better in a quartet setting.
Yeah.
Like we all have gotten better individually as vocalists, but I think our biggest thing has just been learning how to sing barbershop well, because we've all individually had a ton of music stuff that we've done.
I would say that as a new quartet, there was definitely a learning curve to it, because we all know how to like sing well together and sing as smart musicians, but then there's a different aspect when it comes to specifically singing barbershop whereas in singing vocal jazz music or choral music, you don't tune a seventh or a third the same way necessarily in those styles as you would in barbershop. And so even though we all know how to sing together because we had similar training in college, there was still a lot of learning that had to be done and a lot of work that had to go into it. So I think as a first-time quartet, we really had to work hard to get up to the level that we're at now, and comparing with some of the other quartets that we're kind of with.
It's especially hard when you're so new, because at this point you don't know what you don't know, and how are you going to learn until you spend all of the time, especially being around the community at the afterglows until 4 a.m. That's where you really do all the learning and such like that. Not all of it, but
A big thing for us also, I think, has been a lot of quartets kind of start in the chorus and they'll pick up members from their chorus, or it'll be one or two people that are going to conventions and then they meet other people at the convention from a different place in the world, and then they long distance or that kind of thing. And that is a lot of quartets, and that is great. We are very lucky to live within 15 minutes of each other. And we have the luxury of being able to meet literally as often as we can fit into our schedules. And when we're prepping for contest, it's like we do weekly rehearsals, and those rehearsals are like at least an hour or 2 hours long.
and then it becomes bi-weekly.
And then it's bi-weekly.
And then 3 times a week really killed me.
We are able to meet a lot, which other groups might not have the opportunity to do. And being in Orlando, when you're around a lot of people that are here working and are good barbershoppers, because a lot of them work at Disney and other places, or just choose this area to live, we luckily have access to great coaches and people to help us out. So those combination of those two things, I think, have really helped us. We've definitely put in a ton of work though, but it's
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So like you mentioned the coaches, I was gonna ask. So you've in the live stream video, I remember you named some pretty, big names in terms of barbershop people, all in the Central Florida area. So I was wondering, so what have some of them given you in sort of specific instruction and like things that you've really learned from them, like specific things where you're like, wow, without this piece of information, we wouldn't be the quartet we are today. Is there anything like that you can remember?
I can't think of anything specifically personally, but I think we're very lucky to have the access, not only to have, a barbershop coach, but we have many. And I mean, for example, like we kind of use each coach in a different way, or we try to. So like, for example, if Drew gives us a coaching, Drew Ochoa, he would kind of nitpick more of the performance side of things, and then Tony would help us a little bit more on the musicality and some singing, and same with Daniel. I think we kind of interchange that, but like we expect to change up the coaching with each coach, so that way we have a diverse routine, and we're actually gaining each part of the song that we're trying to work on. We're gaining those extra bits that can really help us, go above that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have three coaches, because we have Daniel Cochran as our general coach, and he's the one that really shaped the beginning and throughout of the group.
Quartet down.
Quartet has. Tony DeRosa as music, and then Drew Ochoa as performance. So nobody really steps on each other's toes. And I think that is very important, because if I were to get music coaching from all three of them, then I wouldn't know who to follow. And they all work very well, having worked together at Disney and within Barbershop, to know who to coach what with us specifically.
Yeah. If I had to say, like, Tony is definitely been the biggest help in terms of like small technical things of just like making sure that you turn the words and making sure that your breaths are short so that you can go right into the next phrase, things like that. Those have been some things that we've gained from him. A lot of what Drew has been telling us is basically just get to the point of being so comfortable with your music that you can just stop caring about how you're singing it. Because from the performance aspect, if you're still in your head thinking about, am I tuning the seventh right? Am I singing the right words? Whatever it is, wherever you are, then you're not able to fully commit to delivering the physical aspect, which is what the audience is seeing. And a lot of what Daniel stresses to us, honestly, is like spending as much time rehearsing together, but also doing stuff together outside of rehearsal. And I think that that's really a big thing for quartets, to be able to have that cohesion together. I don't think that it takes a certain amount of trust to go up on a big stage like the international stage and deliver an emotional performance with only 3 people. And I think that spending time with those people in rehearsal and outside of rehearsal is really important to gaining and building that trust with one another, because you need to know exactly what Cody's going to do whenever we get to a certain phrase, so that it works every single time. Just as an example.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point.
yeah. So, and I think that you also have to be able to get to rehearsal, whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood, and not kill each other. And, that's something that works to our benefit, is that we all went to school together for several years before we formed this quartet. So we were all not necessarily best friends, but we had all been kind of around each other for a while. So, I think that that friendship is just as important as grinding and rehearsing together.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for that information. So I was wondering, you guys, I'm assuming that you knew when you submitted the next video for this past year, after some time it was shown that you were seated second place, I believe, going into it. So you already knew that. So going into it, was there any sort of like added pressure you didn't feel last time, or was it still just like sort of as whatever, we're just doing this for fun? Like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I would say so. The first time we were very just like, it was all very spontaneous. We were like, cool, we qualified 10th. Awesome. We're going to be going to Louisville. Let's just go and have fun and see what happens.
And last year, whenever we were going to Louisville, we didn't know. So it was just like, yeah, we're gonna go to this convention, la 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 la. And then we went through it, and we saw how much of the pressure there is, especially after we got off stage, and it didn't mean anything, because we were just first years. But this year, having been through it and knowing what was at stake, it was a lot.
Yeah, and we were very new to the scene, and we didn't feel like there were really any eyes on us, but the moment that it came out that we were seated second, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
so now we're gonna have to really work to hold that seed if we want to actually place it around there. And we knew that there was going to be some sort of expectation because we had set the bar already. So
Yeah, and one of the things I love about barbershop and especially the competitive side of it is, I mean, personally, I feel like there is no guarantee. I mean, like every quartet can knock it out of the park and you never know who's gonna come up surprising you or, you know, who's gonna be the next gold medalist. You never know. It could be, they could have had a bad performance one time, you've heard them one time, then they could have, you know, done so well the next performance. And so it's like, it's not, the pressure was just knowing that there are all the quartets that we were competing against were amazing and they could have easily done what we've done. Like it's a battlefield pretty much.
It's also cool because like, I think I can speak for everyone, like, I have friends that are in the quartet that placed first this year and last year, and I have friends that are in the quartet that placed everywhere in between, all the way down to last this year and last year. Like, what's so awesome about this world is just how, you know, there's this competition aspect of it, but also it's so much more than that. Like once you know, have friends in barbershop, then it's kind of like you care about how they're doing outside of contest because it's just this one little moment in time, and there's so much, all the year of time in between. It's fun to catch up with them and see how their quartet's doing and what songs they're working on and how they're feeling and like all of these other things that go into it. And the second the contest part is over, it's immediately just like, oh my gosh, how are you? Let's sing something, let's sing a tag, or how do you guys feel about what you put on stage, or all that. And it's like, it's so important to us, but not important at the same time, if that makes any sense. Like, I remember going in, when we were going into contest this year and we were seated second, it was kind of this running joke that it's like, oh, we have to do this or score this or whatever to like, to stay second, you know, to try and do as good as we went in. And then once we finished second, I was immediately like absolutely shook because I never thought that that could actually be a thing. Like, of course, it's like, oh, anybody could finish first, second, third, whatever. But when we finished second, I was just so mind blown because I have seen, you know, all these people that were medalists before me, and I wanted to be that. And I was just always so like excited for, you know, one day the opportunity to do that. And for us to have that happen to us was just a cool little moment because we put in the work for that. And we, you know, in that moment, it was a good payoff of we're doing the right thing. And it could actually be us, you know, if that makes sense. You never expect something like that to happen to you. It always seems like something that's crazy unreachable.
Yeah. Awesome. And congratulations on that. That was super fun to watch and be there to hear that announcement and then see you guys on stage. That was a really cool moment. So I wish that they made a bigger deal about the medalist call off for the varsity competition because they posted the other one, but it'd be cool to see the whole video from you guys because it's also cool to watch them in the audience. You know, hearing that kind of news is super cool to see.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked this question to most of the groups just out of curiosity. Most groups don't even have it, but like, do you guys have any sort of like, you know, pre-show tradition you tend to do or anything where it's like, we got to get this done so we can perform or anything at all like that?
I expect a hug from all of them. That's it.
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the typical hype ourselves up, like Lex said earlier, you know, during our coaching, we practice so much up to a point where we need to feel comfortable not caring at all. And that's kind of like, for me, that's one of the things I always make sure I tell the guys at the end, like, you know, we've put in the work, we're here, we're at this moment, we're about to sing, you know, don't care. You know, it's whatever comes out and just have fun with it. You know, if you don't give if you're not sweating up there, you know, by the time you're done, you didn't care, you know. So that's kind of like my pre-show for them, and you know, for myself, is just to like, you know, that last minute reminder, just don't care, you know.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I want to ask a little bit about like your intentions as a group, because last year at the contest, in Louisville, you guys sang two pretty like well-known songs by pretty well-known groups, made them popular, and a lot of varsity groups tend to go one direction or the other, where one group might be singing the most popular song of all time, done by the best group of all time, another group might do the exact opposite. So it seemed like last year you really went that route of like, I'm going to sing these really, really well-known songs, and you guys sang them super well. But this year you came back and did songs that were maybe not as popular, but you still sang them really well, and you scored even higher this year, which for other factors as well. But was that sort of an intentional decision to go based on a little bit less of the super well known stuff, or was it just things that you sort of liked?
A little bit of both, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but maybe this time, I think, was the first time that a men's quartet did that in a competition.
It
Oh, no, he's correct.
yes, I think it was arranged for like chorus, I think, and the chorus had sung it once or twice, but not in 8 years or so ish. I think some female quartets in SAI, I believe, had maybe sung it before, but
Mhm.
no men's quartet and BHS had ever sung that, so it was kind of a debut in that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think that there was any necessary, like a particular strategy behind choosing less popular songs. However, I will say, and mind you, none of us are experienced enough to know what actually goes into the psychology of judging. So this is all completely just, hypothetical stuff. But for me personally, it's a little bit of a relief and less pressure knowing that something hasn't been performed, especially on contest stage, as much, because there's not as much comparison being made.
Yeah.
Like if you're singing an after hours chart, you're going to be compared to after hours. So singing stuff that's not been done as much, I don't know, if it's just less pressure, I guess, which lets us do better singing wise.
Yeah. Awesome. So then, getting into that contest, what were some of the things that made you end up choosing those songs in particular? Like, as opposed to maybe ones that you had done for a district or even at Labor Day Jamboree last year, some changes were made. So I was wondering what sort of led you to those two songs where you're like, these are the two we're gonna do. We're gonna knock them out of the park.
From this year,
Yeah, from this year.
we just find that, and I assume this is the same for most other quartets, when you like learn a song or a set, and then you work them and maybe get them coached and then put them, in front of a stage, you can actively be working to make them better. But then when you find two new songs that you've never sang before as a quartet and put them together, you have all those skills from your previous songs from the get-go. So you don't even have to think about them, they're just going to happen. And then you develop new skills with that instead of kind of sticking with old habits pretty much from your old songs.
That's why it's hard to sing your old songs.
Right.
Because
So
then you sing them bad like you did.
we've just been trying to keep learning new stuff, in hopes that everything we learn hopefully will get better and better.
And a fun little story. I remember we picked Oh Look at Me Now because they were all like, wow, we really enjoy singing this. And Cody, you would sound good on this part. And then it happened. So we had it and we went to a coaching with Tony with Oh Look at Me Now. And he was like, all right, what else you have? And we didn't have any other ballad. And he just said, I know this one, maybe this time. And he just handed it to us and it was perfect fit for us. So we had Maybe This Time chosen for us and it worked really well, just off the get-go.
Yeah, there's not like our process for selecting music has kind of been a random free-for-all. We'll just look, we have like a giant library of charts, then we'll just look through and sing through stuff. and then be like, oh, do we like this? Cool, let's learn it. And then if we really like it, once we learn it, then we can consider it for contest.
And
then
like every
sometimes stuff will just get handed to us, like Cody said, and be like, you should sing this. And we're like, great. I guess
my
we should
favorite
sing it.
is whenever it's like 2 a.m. and then a screenshot of an Apple Music comes in.
Oh, which famous.
No, not even that. Just a screenshot of the Apple Music, and it's like, oh, okay, sure,
I guess we should look at this before next rehearsal.
right?
I think we are extremely, extremely lucky and fortunate to have people in our corner that even if he didn't, recall off the top of his head that maybe this time was almost a quartet debut or whatever, I think we're just extremely lucky to have people that, know us as singers and as individuals well enough to say, oh, this is a song, that you would do really well on, that's contestable, that wouldn't be something that's oversung. So, we're just really lucky in that aspect because we have had people to turn to at every step of the way, which is a really thing that we don't take for granted for sure, because it's helped us so much. But that's, I just wanted to say that.
And on the flip side, we also have like Daniel and Tony, several times we've taken a chart to them and they'll be like, you're gonna sing that?
No, it was our first time with Tony. We brought him. It was Once Upon a Time. We sang that first, and then we sang Alexander's Ragtime Band, the Gas House Gang chart.
Check out the band.
And he said, "You're gonna do that one?" And we went, "Yeah." And we think it'll be good. And he said, "Not if you want to do well."
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, they keep us honest for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we just, again, this was 3-4 months after we like qualified or whatever, and we didn't know what contestable or not contestable meant. So we were just like, oh, this song is fun and it sounds kind of hard, so let's sing it and try and do it. And it's been a learning.
Awesome. That's super funny to hear. And while we're on that kind of stuff, are there any other stories at all from either like coachings or just times international that you think would be fun to share with an audience? Just anything off the top of your head. If not, it's fine. But if anything sort of interesting that you remember happening that you'd be like fun to talk about.
So I don't remember what caused this, but we were in a rehearsal and Daniel was there once.
This is
And Cody,
I was acting a fool as always.
yeah.
Cody being Cody.
And Daniel had enough of Cody's antics and he just went, oh no, like yelled at Cody.
I just stood there like,
So now, anytime Cody does anything, whether it's like something that he's doing intentionally to be funny, or like if he messes something up badly, we're just like, no.
Just way of telling Cody to get back in line.
And every so often we'll add a new little thing that we'll also remember by. So
Yeah, cool. That was interesting. No problem. If nothing else, that's funny. So another question I have is, how, in your experience, has a new group, especially like a pretty young group compared to most groups that are out there, how has your experience differed between the district conventions and the international convention in terms of like, while the district one is, a technically like a higher level because it's not varsity, but the varsity one is in the international stage. So how has that experience been different for you guys? Either on stage, backstage, anything?
one thing that's weird in the district, being one of the only varsity quartets, I don't know how many there are, but there's few, people know us. Just like walking around, they're like, hey, you're Sweet Life. And that, makes me kind of feel like a celebrity a little bit. Sorry.
right.
It's nice to be like around the district and have people like recognize you as a quartet and as individuals, like once you get to know them. And like Cody and I are involved with Heralds, and the 4 of us as a quartet have been on some shows with them now. So all those guys know us and support us. It's also just a different mindset going in because, at least for internationals, it's once a year, and that's kind of the almost bigger title for us, maybe because it's international. And for districts, you know, we might want to go and see how a song scores or get good feedback or see what happens on stage, or for the district contest, try and do well in the district contest. But a lot of the times it's like we can kind of more easily throw away the, you know, we don't really need anything specifically, any specific outcome from this event. So it's easier to kind of go into it with a, I don't really care what happens mindset, and just kind of let everything happen.
Yeah, I'll kind of build off of that. Like, in some ways, like the international convention is like the pinnacle moment of the year, so to speak. Like that's the long-term goal that we kind of set at the end of the year of like, we're gonna like make sure that we've grown by X by July. And the nice thing about districts is that that's like kind of like a practice trial run for us in some aspect. Like, we're able to go, we can get scored, and we're able to get a coaching with a judge in a category of our choice or in 3 categories. And it's really an opportunity to kind of throw some stuff out on the table and see what sticks, and use that kind of as a springboard going into the later half of the year, preparing for internationals.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like it's also just the nature of the each competition in terms of sheer size. I mean, for some reason, I just feel more laid back at districts, and it feels a little bit more, you know, tight knit. You're chilling with your buddies, and you know, you just spend a couple nights enjoying quite a lot. You know, it's kind of cool also to see who's representing, you know, your district versus seeing everyone in international. And of course, international is the, you know, the big one. You're kind of stressed. You're trying to put in those last few rehearsals, and you know, and then finally, whenever the big competition ends, you're finally relaxed, and you're again chilling with your buddies. On a bigger scale, of course, because you have everyone coming from all over the place. But yeah, I just feel like there's a different atmosphere for both. But I mean, they all have their pros. So
Yeah, cool. That makes total sense. Trip, I like you'd mentioned about the Heralds of Harmony. Of course, the second place Silver Medalist chorus this past year, which was so much fun.
Yeah.
They were so much fun to watch. I was wondering, for those of you who have participated in them at any event, how has it been? How has singing with that kind of, you know, big name chorus impacted at all your quartet singing, if it has?
Well, I think it's nice actually, because there's a lot of overlap, obviously, in chorus singing and quartet singing, just as far as style and vocal production and good habits to have. So I think it's made me a better quartet singer being involved with the chorus, because you have, you know, once a week a coaching from the brilliant Tony DeRosa.
And to build off of that, it's made me a better quartet singer, because it's not somebody sitting in front of me telling me what to do. It's everybody else already doing it, and I just have to match them. So it makes that a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's nice to have other people around who are as interested in the barbershop stuff as we are, and who in turn are also just as excited for the district weekend or LDJ coming up, or kind of like I mentioned earlier with some of the next gen quartets. It's just nice to have someone to talk to about how their quartet is doing, or, you know, how their family is doing, or just all these different things. And, you know, all the chorus guys just are so supportive of us as a quartet, which has been a super great thing as well. So
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of LDJ, of course, the famous Labor Day Jamboree event. What was it like performing at the LDJ last year? I mean, obviously, you know, it was pretty much like your like second huge performance in the barbershop world. So what was that like for you guys, having just come off from international?
Well, it was interesting, to say the least. We had a false start as a quartet. So what had happened was Trip blew the pitch, and Zach heard it. Lex doesn't need it ever, and I was just left high and dry. So we started our up tune.
It's our first song, keep in mind. We
First
walk out
song.
low pitch. We're so excited / nervous to sing at LDJ. And then we walk
was
out
just-
and we started in different keys. So we had to like stop.
So I stopped and I said to the audience, you guys deserve better. We're gonna restart. And then we did.
Mhm.
And it still wasn't as good, because we're still all shooken up, but we hope to redeem ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was one of those, every quartet has one of those moments kind of thing, you're not safe from it,
Yeah,
Nobody's safe.
so
yeah.
you'll live and learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, and I'm gonna be there this year. I'm very excited to see you guys and all the other groups that are gonna be there. So what is your group like outside of the contest world right now? Is there anything that you've sort of been looking at? I know you guys put on that you're gonna be booked for shows, and obviously everything's gonna be in the description. So if you're watching right now and you're like, I want to book them for my show, I'm gonna put all that stuff down in the description so you can make sure you watch it. But what kind of stuff you're doing? What are you looking to do?
Well, we're definitely focused on picking up some new charts for LDJ, and right around the corner after that is fall districts that we're looking to compete in. So we're gonna be working on some more music for that too. We have some shows lined up in fall, TBD.
Mhm.
And then after that is gonna be probably the grind towards July in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. All right. Before we do a final few things to wrap up, I want to do a very quick game with you guys. So it's just going to be a little bit of who's most likely to. So I'll ask a question about who's most likely to do something, and then just based on, anything you want, whatever you think is the right answer, and then I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then you put up a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 for tenor, lead, barry, or bass for who you think is most likely to for that thing. Just going top down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. The first one is who's most likely to sleep in way too late? 3, 2, 1. Kind of split. 3.
Me? I'll take it.
We're all pumped.
That's good. All right. Okay, who's most likely to overpack way too much for trips? 3, 2, 1.
It's me. I like clothes
Yeah.
and shoes, so it's definitely me.
Didn't
He brings a whole guitar, so I guess that's something, but
Didn't you bring
Oh.
a whole music guitar at one
The
time?
guitar is great, bro.
No.
me.
Cool. All right, what about this? Who's most likely to never want to stop rehearsing?
Easy answer.
Easy.
3, 2, 1.
There you go. There's the unanimous.
Easy.
I
Yeah,
will
Well,
own that. I
Bro,
will
I'm glad
own
you all
that.
agree.
Hour 2.5, and I just want to go to bed.
Trips to barbershop.
You hear that message
Fanatic.
ding at 2 a.m. What about this?
That's- It's
Yeah.
not always me, but
No,
it's
that's fair,
usually,
that's fair.
but it's usually me.
Okay, last question. Who's most likely to never make a mistake when performing? 3, 2, 1. Split
Wow.
down the middle.
But we'll take it. It's Lex,
And
it's
because
for
of your
sure
perfect
not me.
pitch.
I don't think that I've ever seen this
You
guy
have a
like
tool.
mess up on stage, like actually.
No.
That's a high compliment.
That is,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Awesome, cool. All right, so just a very last thing. I just want to see if you guys, we're just gonna go down the line and just see if you guys have any sort of inspirations in terms of vocalists, either like barbershop vocalists on your part, or if not, just like some other vocalist who's been super inspirational to you. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't, just anything at all like that. So we'll go the other way than we did at the beginning. So Cody, how about anyone who you can think of for that kind of thing?
Definitely, the one, Rich Knight, as far as barbershop, because who isn't? But my two biggest vocal inspirations outside of barbershop are Michael Franks And if you don't know who that is, look him up for sure. And Mel Torme, just because I'm a jazzer.
Yeah. Cool. Lex, how about you?
Let's see. In terms of just like overall barbershop singing, I've always been a huge fan of Drew Ochoa. And for tenor singing, lots of greats out there. Tim Warwick is one that comes to mind just because he's one of the greats, and he, I don't know, it brings a lot of people to barbershop just because of how he sings. So I don't know, those are two that just come out.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Zach, what about you?
I guess, being the bass, I definitely have a big aspiration for Jeff Oxley. He's such a powerhouse, and everyone, you want to be at that point in your life, and sometimes you never will, but it's okay. You can live through it. And another bass, of course, I'm a huge Newfangled 4 fan, so Jake, of course, such a huge fan, and not only in singing but performance, big inspiration for that. But I don't really have one like outside of barbershop necessarily. I kind of just listen to different kinds of music and just go about my day. So
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. And Trip, how about you?
I would definitely say, the primary one for sure when I'm listening to like baritone stuff is Tony.
Woo!
He was in 3 different chant quartets on baritone now, and listening to all of them. Keepsake is just like the holy grail of barbershop, in my opinion. I just love everything Keepsake, and I, love listening to what he does. And then the second one is actually a very kind of random one, but one of my favorite college quartets ever, probably my favorite actually, Prestige, my favorite college quartet. Nick Gordon, the baritone of that, he has a lot of like big loud like 5s at the end of his tags, and I just love studying like his mouth shapes or different like random things, the way he fills in certain chords. And I've gotten to speak to him a little bit on how he does some of that very briefly, like over a year ago probably. But he's also someone that I accidentally come back to because I love Prestige also. So those are probably my 2. And then outside of barbershop, I don't really have anyone specific, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. Before we end, what can we expect from Suite Life in the future?
More
music,
just more
original
bangers.
charts.
We definitely
Oh, yeah.
are looking into getting some custom charts written for us. We don't know exactly by who yet or what, but that has been a conversation that's been happening since a little bit before this past international. So that's something to look forward to, I think.
We have a good bit of things either 100% planned out now, or a lot of things that are kind of still getting figured out. But between now and next year's contest, we do have a lot of different shows and things coming up, which is so exciting.
And all that'll be posted on our socials, right?
Yeah, so segue into follow us on our social medias. On Instagram, we are at Suite Life QT, Sweet SUITE, not sweet like the candy, but Suite Life QT. And then on Facebook, we are Suite Life Quartet. And then we also have a website, sweetlifeqt.com. You can contact us any one of those ways. And follow us for all the things.
Awesome. And if anyone who's watching is too lazy to type that out, if you want to scroll down, it'll be in the description, so you can just click on it, and it'll be only one thing you have to do, which is a little easier. So, yep, they know where it is. So, thank you so much, Sweet Life, for doing this. This has been a joy for me. I'd love to be able to hear from you guys again to know a little bit more about you, in and out of the contest. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope that you really enjoyed this, and I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.